Welcome to Bud's Beer Blurb, the podcast. You can catch all of our episodes on our YouTube channel. Just search @Bud's Beer Blurb and we'll pop right up. Oh, and do me a favor. Would you hit that subscribe button while you're there, please? Thank you very much. We can also be heard on rss.com, and they have a list of other podcast sites that we're on. Just pick the one you like best. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just do that whole search @Bud's Beer Blurb again. And be sure to give us a follow while you're there. All right, let's get to the show.
Hello, I'm Bud SD, and welcome to episode 21 of Bud's Beer Blurb, the podcast. We have an incredible episode for you. First, we have Justin Salley of False Hope Brewing in the studio. He actually brought us a couple of beers to taste, and then he actually got me to rate one of them right in front of him. I don't usually like to do that. We also have Alexa Curtis. She is the creator of ChiefSwagOfficer.com. She's a former Disney radio host, and she has a list of other accomplishments. She's in the studio to give us an interview. But first, let's just jump right into that interview with Justin Salley of False Hope Brewing. In the studio today with me is Justin Salley. He is the owner and brewer at False Hope Brewing Company, and we're going to be talking about what he does. So, Justin, welcome to Bud's Beer Blurb.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
And now, you're brewing out of the 12% project?
Yeah, exclusively under 12% right now.
Okay. How about this? Where are you from originally? How about start there?
So I grew up in Meriden.
Mm-hmm.
Currently living in Middletown right now.
Okay. So you grew up here in Connecticut?
Yeah, my whole life. Yep.
Same. It's one of those sad stories. But growing up in Meriden is where you grew up as a kid?
Yeah. Yep, Meriden. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have much interest.
That's okay. Meriden's not that great.
It's not that great. It's a little rough. But yeah.
What got you into brewing? There's a better question for you.
So I always was just really into beer. Started home brewing about 13 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And then immediately it just clicked. Like it was instantaneous.
So home brewing in terms of, did you have a big setup? Were you doing kits or?
Yeah, I started off with kits.
Yep.
And then slowly just started doing my own recipes once I kind of got my footing there.
Yeah.
But no, I was just doing 5 gallons or so at a time on the kitchen stove.
There you go.
With a couple of friends.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Didn't we all start like that?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same story. Every single brewer.
Yeah. And then you switched over to all grain?
Yep.
Obviously you did, because now
yeah.
working at the 12% project. Where did you learn how to brew? Just by the home brewing?
Well, home brewing, I started off home brewing. I thought I knew what I was doing until I started working in the industry.
Oh, okay.
I quickly learned how little I knew.
Wow.
So I just took the first job I could get. It was washing kegs at Stony Creek.
Okay.
So that was my introduction, and then just learned as much as I could from all of the guys there. And really, they were such a big operation.
Yeah, they are. They're a pretty good sized brewery.
Yeah, they were when I was there. We were doing 20,000 barrels plus a year. So,
that's a lot.
I was there in their heyday.
Yeah.
So I got to learn a ton. And just really from there, started off washing kegs, and then I worked my way all the way up to brewer there.
Wow. Any key mentors?
Oh yeah, Gordon Welpley is the key mentor to me. He just started his own operation in Windsor right now. He's doing THC non-alcoholic beers.
Wow.
Yeah, so he'll be launching. I mean, he's already launched, but end of this month, I think his beers will be for sale.
Is he using? This is going to sound crazy, but is he using Delta 8 or Delta 9? Don't know. Okay. Because Delta 8, you got to have all those licenses and stuff like that. But it's
better to use.
Oh, I know he's gone through it. He's been working on this for the past 4 years or so.
Actually,
so it's but he was absolutely pivotal in everything in my career.
Cool.
Still to this day, anytime I need a hand. When I started False Hope, he was the first person I reached out to because he's great with branding. So he was the first one I ran everything by.
Cool.
So still to this day, he's helping me out.
Gotcha, man.
Okay. Yeah.
So False Hope, what inspired that? I mean, that sounds kind of like, wow, here we go.
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of it's commentary on like the social economic
structure of all
structure
things,
of everything. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy times.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Crazy times, and it's kind of just shining a light on all the bullshit that we're fed all the time.
Okay, we're gonna get deep here because I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
But you started in 2021, correct?
No, False Hope 2024, just this past year.
It's really?
Yeah. We just had our 1-year anniversary back in March.
And so I had one of your beers, and the thing is he was nervous about this beer because he thought it was old, but it still got a 4 from me, and that's hard to get with me.
Yeah.
But you said that beer was like 8 months, you said?
Yeah, about 8 months.
So that's why you were nervous about it.
I mean, yeah, and I'll take it. Any sort of positive.
But I mean, if you started in 2024, I mean, how did I get a beer that old? That's kind of crazy.
Well, that was brewed back in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, it was delicious. I enjoyed it. It was. Now, remind me, I reviewed so many beers. Which one was that?
That was a Masochist.
Masochist.
Yeah, that was our first triple IPA.
That was a triple IPA. That's
one
probably why I loved it so much. I'm a sucker for triples, brother.
Yeah.
Oh man. So your flagship beer is either Deadweight or Constant Chaos, correct?
We're kind of working on a flagship right now. I've only brewed one beer twice.
Okay, really?
Yeah, and that was Existential Dread. That was the first beer we ever did. That was a that was a double IPA with Citra, Mosaic, and Motueka. So that was the beer that we launched with.
Okay.
And then I only brewed that again for the second time we were launching. We were going through 12% wider distribution network.
Right.
So I figured that was a good one to launch with. Yeah. So again, we're kind of working on a flagship. I'm really right now. I'm still constantly tweaking. I feel like I'm at a place now where my process is really dialed in.
Okay.
So I was kind of working on all of that, and then I just kind of going to let the market determine what the flagship will be.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes complete sense, honestly.
Yeah.
You're saying you're dialing in your process. That's interesting. So do you feel like everything before this dialing in has been like experimental?
A little bit. I mean, I've been professionally brewing for 10 years. So
wow.
I knew which direction I wanted to take everything in. And, when I say I'm dialing stuff in, it's small tweaks here and there. I'm not drastically changing the whole process, but that's just obviously an obsession of mine is constant improvement. So,
and that's why you made a good beer.
Yeah.
So you again, you're out of 12% project. Have you been receiving guidance from those guys there? How is it? What's the atmosphere? What's it like brewing there?
I mean, it's great. So I'm also the head brewer there.
Oh, wow.
So that's my day job.
Okay.
And then 12% or False Hope, kind of the
side gig.
Yeah.
Hopefully it takes over.
Yeah. Eventually, that's the goal. So but it's great working there. They're so good with me. I started there about 4 years ago, and they've just given me every opportunity to succeed. They really value my feedback.
Cool.
it's one of the it's the best job I've ever had working there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning is not a drag, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of that in the brewing industry where people don't get paid exactly what they should be. But I've never really felt that at 12%. Like they're really, I feel very valued there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the Connecticut brew scene is difficult more so than possibly other states?
I think beer in general is just difficult. The margins are not great. We're very susceptible to price changes.
Yeah, especially like the tariffs that are going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. The tariffs basically hit everything that the brewing industry is.
Yeah. So certain hops, a lot of the grains, the aluminum.
Yep, exactly. Basically everything.
It's the same complaint for every brewer. You know? But and I can totally understand. But in the Connecticut scene right now, we know that there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of breweries closing. It really sucks.
Yeah.
Here you are coming up in it, and I know a lot of people in your shoes right now. Be Smart. They're same process at the moment, and you're doing just distro. What do you think about the Connecticut scene? Do you think it's going to change in the next 5 to 10 years? And if so, kind of how?
I think, man,
I know that's a big question. It is.
Yeah. There's got to be the bar's got to be raised. I think people, man. See, I don't want to disparage any breweries that have closed, because I know that those are real people, their families, that's their livelihood. I just think kind of the cream will rise to the top. I think the good ones will stay. It's very hard. It's very hard to run. I'm not even doing it. I'm not opening up a brewery.
Yeah. Well, talk about
just because, working in it for 10 years, I've seen what it takes.
Right.
So I think there'll be some more closings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But you really, when you get in there, it's the business side of it is so hard, and it's so tricky that if you're not very savvy in that, it's gonna be rough.
Are you doing all aspects of your business? I mean, do you handle the business part? You're not just brewing, you're doing the books, you're doing the marketing, you're doing.
Yep.
God bless you.
Everything. I don't do the artwork. I have an artist, Dave Globerson. He does all of my art for all the labels.
Plug.
Yep.
Good. That's good. I like to hear that. Shout out.
Yeah. DFG Illustrations.
There you go.
On Instagram.
Cool.
He does all my artwork. He does help a little bit with social media too. He'll pitch me some ideas.
Nice.
For a post. Outside of that, it's me. I gotta run the books. I gotta do everything. I gotta price everything out.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
especially since
it is, and it's exactly. And as small as I am, it's still a lot of work.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
and you're just distro, obviously. Are you doing just canning, or are you doing keg? Dogs out to.
Yep, we keg a small amount. Obviously, like our beers are pretty consistently on tap at 12%.
Okay.
Then we go out to some local bars too, but mainly cans.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So is there any particular trend going on in Connecticut? Because there's a few trends happening. They're rising up. Is there any of those that you've noticed and that you're, thinking about moving towards or you're into yourself?
There's a lot of different hop products coming out right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And more, they're coming out quicker than I can keep up with.
Right. I mean, cryo is just nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like old school
like a
already.
Distant memory. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy what's happening.
Yeah. There's so many. So I keep getting emails and stuff and get, pitched from salesmen. And I'm trying some of those. And that's kind of another part of what I was saying with dialing in that process is I'm starting to use some of them and I'm finding the ones that I like that are really starting to make these beers really pop.
And you mostly just do IPAs, correct?
Yeah, we've done a few stouts, mainly IPAs. The tricky thing with 12%, I guess, is like, I brew once or twice a month now. So really, like when I brew a batch, I got to make it count.
Right. Absolutely.
I got to make sure it'll sell, that it'll sell through, and then it won't just be sitting around. So I really got to nail it.
And how big of a batch are we talking about? What do you do?
Typically 30 barrels.
Okay.
I've done 20 barrels in the past. The system there, we're capable of doing that. But so far, 30 is the biggest. I mean, we could go all the way up to 90 barrels at 12%, but so I'm still
that's a big operation.
Like
at Thimble Island, I was looking at their 90 BBL tanks. I was like, what the hell?
We have a few of those. They're mainly for Fat Orange Cat, but
which they do put out good beer.
Yep.
I worked with Scott, who was one of the brewers there, but now he's one of the owners at Rule of Three.
Okay.
And he and I brewed together, and boy, I'm sure it's a much different scenario brewing where he's at now, because when I brewed with him, I learned so much, because he has very small equipment, and it's just, he has to brew. It's not push a button and next thing this happens. No, he's brewing. And that was such an enlightening experience with him. He's one of my heroes. Yep. Do you have any heroes besides your mentors? Any other breweries that you look towards and say, wow, okay, there's some inspiration?
A little for Treehouse to be doing what they're doing, I think is incredible. For them to be as consistent as they are, brewing the type of beers that they are. They brew mostly hazy IPAs, which is that's the market right now. But it's such a tough beer to brew and to brew consistently. That I think that gets overlooked. That not just is their beer quality, but it's consistent. And for them to be doing it. And I like their model too. They didn't go the distro route. They kind of brought the beer to the people. They just set up other retail locations instead of
you come to us.
Exactly. I like being in distro, and it's been working out great for us. But the margins are better when people come to you.
Sure, absolutely. So Treehouse, that's cool. Now, you have you brought some beer with you. We'll get to that in a second. I think I got one more question for you, though.
Sure.
Other than your own beer, if you were to go out and grab a beer, what would it be?
Oh man, favorite beer style ever is a Schwartz beer.
Oh, okay.
I really like that flavor profile. Mainly. As a drinker, I'm mainly a lager drinker. I like the lighter beers, the crushable beers. But I love that in a Schwartz beer you get all it's complex. You get
layers of flavor.
Notes of caramel, roast, malt, coffee. And the unfortunate thing is, a Schwartz beer done really well is kind of hard to find. But that's absolutely what I would pick up anytime I see it on the shelves.
There you go.
If a Schwartz beer is there, I'm grabbing it.
Have you been to Dead Language yet?
Not yet. I'm going next weekend.
Next weekend. Oh, you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Chris is really a great brewer. I just got through. I actually brewed with him and Sean Gora. From Labyrinth. The two of them did a collab, and I actually got to get in there and do some video work and a little bit of brewing, and that was quite the experience. I like going there.
I love Chris. I know him all the way back from Alvarium. I was always going there. Chris is awesome, and we have our anniversary. We launched on the same weekend last year.
Cool.
So we're always having that competing anniversary party.
Collab it then.
No, we should, and that would be the first lager that I ever did too.
Wow. And he's down with that though. He loves doing stuff like that. All right. Well, you brought some beer. Okay. And we'll get to that right after this.
At Cutting Edge Chiropractic, we don't just treat the ailment. We treat the patient. When I injured my shoulder in high school, I was told that I'd be on pain meds for the rest of my life. Determined to find an alternate solution, I sought the care of a chiropractor. The treatment I received was life-changing. With hard work and a short amount of time, my pain improved dramatically. I was determined to change people's lives in the same way. At Cutting Edge Chiropractic, we believe in giving people the knowledge and the tools to take charge of their own health and improve their own lives. At Cutting Edge Chiropractic, you will receive personalized care and attention with experienced professionals and state-of-the-art treatment techniques that include both therapy and lifestyle changes.
Justin, you brought us some beers. What do we have here in front of us?
This right here, this is a Pandemonium. It's a double IPA. This is with Citra, Nelson, and Raquel.
Okay.
This one, it just came out. We just released it yesterday on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Available at the 12% tap room right now, and then it'll be in stores probably this coming week.
Cool. That's got to be exciting. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, I've done home brewing, and I have this red Irish ale that when I told people it was done, I'd have people show up at my door I haven't seen in years,
Yeah.
But it was still kind of exciting, even though they drank all my beer, to be, people having that much enthusiasm.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the ABV in this?
8.3.
Oh, that's my kind of beer. I like the higher ABVs. I like the taste of the alcohol.
Yeah, you kind of need that elevated ABV to keep it a balanced beer, but to get the intensity that I'm going for with the hop flavor.
All right. Well, let's crack it open. Nice. And whoa, dude, I caught the aroma already.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing is to crack it and then right out of the can.
So what notes are we looking for?
So this one is really, I think it smells and drinks just like that passion orange guava juice. All those tropical hop flavors.
Because there's a lot of tropical in there, a lot of pineapple, citrus, some mango.
Yeah, definitely some mango, a little bit of stone fruit too. This one is really all the hops in there are so complex. That kind of intentionally did that, so it's a little hard to like put your finger on exactly what you're getting out of it. But that was intentional.
It definitely makes a more complex beer, and I like that because then the mouth gets stimulated different areas. It's crazy. So now the tasting notes. What am I going to get?
Definitely a lot of passion fruit, a lot of other tropical fruits, some guava, definitely some citrus. I think at first sip, my first reaction was like fresh squeezed orange juice.
Cool.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's give it a taste. A little dank, but sweet at the same time. Nice balance. I like the hazy. I like the New Englands. I like the sweet, but at the same time, if it doesn't have that dank in there, it's not an IPA. And this, though, is the dank is there. It's still there, but the sweet is right down the center. That is tasty, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I like that little edge to it that, like Citra and Nelson is kind of False Hope's, Citra Mosaic. Everybody's doing Citra Mosaic. I use Nelson a lot. And just for exactly what you said, that little edge, that little hint of dank that Nelson will give you. I love how it rounds out the flavor profile in all my beers.
And you said dude, help me.
Raquel.
Raquel. Okay, not Riwaka.
Yep.
Raquel. So what do you think that's doing with this?
That is bringing some of that stone fruit, a lot of that guava.
Okay.
You can even get some peach, some mango off of that.
Did you dry hop with all three, or?
Yep, with all three.
Wow, no wonder the flavor's so intense. That's really good, dude.
Thank you.
I'm not reviewing or rating. I wouldn't do that in front of you.
Come on, it's all right.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
You want that?
Yeah.
Hang on. Very well balanced. Very well balanced. No.
I'm not here to get my ass kissed.
Don't. Either, right?
Yeah.
It's solid, dude. It's 3 3/4.
Okay.
Again, for me, that's it's hard to get into those 4s.
Okay.
And you already did that with me. Just so everybody knows, he's already done that with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an 8 solid.
And it might be a 4.
Right.
Yeah.
But with me, if you hit 3.5, you've got a good beer going on.
All right. Cool.
That is very, very good. I'm going to enjoy finishing this one. We'll be back with the next beer right after this.
Looking for a meaningful way to give back? Your Community Cares connects volunteers with older adults and people with disabilities, offering help that truly matters. From tech support that keeps seniors connected to social activities that build friendships, we're reducing isolation and promoting inclusion. It's more than just tasks, it's about connection, companionship, and emotional well-being. Visit yourcommunitycares.org to volunteer and help build a community where no one is left behind.
So, what do you have for us, Justin?
All right. This is Dead Weight.
Dead Weight.
It's an Imperial Stout, 11.5%.
Ooh.
This one, we let it sit on a ton of toasted coconut and cocoa nibs.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a complete bomb. Dark chocolate, coconut.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to do small pours on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Oh, my God. It's like...
Yeah.
Okay. It looks as like dark as syrup, but it poured very smoothly. Wow. So I'm getting mostly roasted coffee.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, too. A lot of roasted barley.
It smells delicious. Okay, so one more time. A lot of coconut.
Yeah, basically.
Mostly just a coconut.
Coconut and cocoa nibs. So
that's the spine. That's the bones of this thing.
Yeah, that's the bones of it.
Let's give it a taste. Okay, so this is very, very sweet.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But you told me it was going to be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Off camera, he told me it was going to be sweet. The brewer's right here explaining the beer to me. So, for what you described this as, you nailed it.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's supposed to just be like big, luxurious.
It sure is.
Mouthfeel. I'm really big into like texture with my beers.
Okay.
So I really want like every sip to, it's kind of an event.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of the coffee, the roasted flavor, but the coconut is right there, even with it, and it's delicious. This is really, really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. People who know me know I'm not a big stout fan, especially when it comes to like those really sweet ones. This is sweet, but not overly so, not ridiculously sweet like your peanut butter marshmallow and jelly. It's no longer a stout as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
This has got a nice balance to it. It's sweet, but yes, it is delicious. Well done, dude. Well done.
Thank you.
And you actually have a third beer for us, don't you? Oh, I have it right here.
Yep.
This is a triple IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
saved it just for you.
Dude, I love you already. Collateral Damage. Tell me about Collateral Damage.
It's a triple IPA, 10%. We dry hop that with Citra, Nelson, Waiiti, and then from Freestyle hops, we also added Southern Cross and Raquel.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went at it with this beer. This was for our 1-year anniversary. So I just kind of threw everything at it.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw everything at it.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. That was nice. Short pour again. So what? Dude, your beers, you crack the can, and you can smell the aroma of his beers every time. It's not a lot of beers do that.
Thank you. That's again, it's intentionally done. That's what I want. I want that exact. I love hearing that because that's the exact reaction that I want.
Every time we've had that, like Nick and I will be together and we crack a beer and it's like, whoa, I smell it already. The reaction is genuine.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I love that. It's exactly what I'm going for. That's how I pick the hops. That's how I.
I know potato chip is not the proper cleansing of the palate, but the sweet's got to go, so the salty's going to hopefully do something. I just don't want to. I don't want to go for a triple after a stout. Well, something in between. All right.
Cleanse with the triple and then drink more triple.
There you go. I don't have a problem with that. Dude. Wow. That's a lot of citrus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good triple. Let me do one more. Like you said, cleanse it and then, yeah. Four. Easy 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy 4. Dude, this is delicious. Wow. I mean, the citrus is the most prominent in my palate.
Mm-hmm.
The alcohol, this is a 10%?
Yeah, 10%.
Yeah, you can't tell us 10%.
Yep.
It's well hidden.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. There's a nice dank, but a nice light sweet too. When I say a light sweet, a lot of the times, like the other one we had, the sweet is really prominent. This one it's there, but hey, I'm here. It's okay.
As far as triple IPAs go, this is probably a little bit on the drier side.
Yep.
You know, we're not finishing at like 7 or 8 degrees Plato or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, it's just a touch of Nelson in there to kind of bring everything together. But as far like otherwise, it's Citra, Waiti, everything else is just Citra forward. It's just going to smack you in the mouth.
That's beautiful. Good job. I love it. I love it.
Thanks, man. Thank you. That's kind of the culmination of 10 years of brewing plus 1 year of doing my own brand. I really just went at it with this beer and really tried to make it intense. And
people need to know where you're at. So you're out of the 12%, but you can find False Hope Brewing on Instagram. It's at False Hope Brewing Co. Same thing with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin's email is justin@falsehopebrewing.com. Look for him. Definitely look for him. Find this beer on the shelves. Find it in, the brew pubs. You're going to be in for a taste treat. This is fantastic, Justin. I really, really appreciate you bringing all this out for me.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you for everything. And if you do see it out, pick it up quick because it goes. Everything I've done so far, it moves. Shame. I know. People want me to make bigger batches. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So for now, it's small and it sells quick. So if you see it,
you guide the ship, brother.
Yeah,
you guide the ship. All right.
Yep.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
Almost Famous Brewing has the bands in May. May 18th is the Matt Bellevue Trio. May 23rd is Out of Whack. May 24th is Frank Varela and the Beyond. May 25th, Jack and his guitar. May 31st, the Dan McNamara Band. May 31st, Jeff Blaney Trio. And then Impromptu from 7 to 10. Almost Famous Brewing, East Granby, Connecticut.
My next guest is a social media superstar. Alexa Curtis is an entrepreneur, speaker, former Disney radio host. She's the founder of Chief Swag Officer, creator of Be Fearless Summit, and the host of Dare to Be Fearless podcast. Alexa is all about bold moves and fearless ambition. Alexa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate you coming out. Now, you're from Virginia right now?
No, this is just a rental car, but my boyfriend lives in Virginia, but I rented the car in South Windham, so I don't know why it says Virginia. No idea why.
Okay. Well, you and I met at Illicit Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
you put on a TikTok that you were just going to be there randomly. And I had seen you quite a few times because what intrigued me was that you grew up in the next town over from me.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, you and I went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
We both dropped out of the same high school.
Love that. Of course.
I finished up somewhere else. But did you know that Weezer went to that high school?
E.O. Smith?
Yeah, Weezer went to
No,
E.O.
you're
Smith.
kidding.
I'm not kidding.
No, I had no idea, but you just gave me content for TikTok today. So
Isn't
thank
that
you.
crazy?
Are you sure?
I'm positive. My wife used to work with someone that was like their second mother.
Wow, no way.
Yeah. So,
interesting. Did
really
he drop
cool.
out too?
No, he went to Harvard.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Okay. So no.
But we're talking about Rivers Cuomo. But yeah. But anyway, so little rabbit trail. Sorry about that. But so you come to find out, Illicit was like the only brewery you've been to in Connecticut?
Yeah, I don't even know how I even ended up working with them, but it was like the only one that I had been to, still / have been to. Okay. I have your list on my radar. I just feel now like I have so much love for them, but I will go see other places for sure.
Yeah. And you posted what other places? Wait a minute. Now, so you have a video out, and I'm going to pull this up real quick on TikTok. And this video, I have a feeling, well, I kind of know, was about...
Is it the brewery one? Yes, this has so many comments. Oh, I didn't even know Illicit reposted this. Interesting.
Yeah, right? That's from Illicit.
Yeah.
And the comments are insane.
Honestly, I hadn't read those.
Really?
No.
They just start shooting out every brewery in the state of Connecticut.
Great.
All right. It's just like brewery after brewery. It's kind of chaos.
Okay.
But the beautiful part is that you're all about Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And now you reside in Connecticut still?
No. So I haven't lived here. I dropped out of E.O. Smith when I was 16, moved to New York, like 9 suitcases. People asked me, like, how did your parents let you do that? I literally just was like, I'm going. I said I was going for a week because at the time I had started as a fashion blogger. Okay. And so I was going for Fashion Week. And essentially never ended up coming back home. I like moved out, went to Brooklyn, rented a place, did the whole starving artist thing, and then was in Boston, LA, and then Austin, London most recently. So no, but my parents live here, and this whole Connecticut thing has made me start coming back like every other week.
Right.
But I haven't lived here full time since I was, in high school.
Okay. And your business is out of London, correct?
Yeah. So this e-commerce business, which is your microphone cover.
Yes.
Yeah. I started this in London. And so kind of essentially I view it like my personal brand, which I've had for years, is like what pays my bills. And this is really my startup. So this one I started in London, but obviously, the product is and ships worldwide. So I've been trying to bring it to a bigger presence in the US.
Yeah. Really sorry about those tariffs too.
Well, I saw that video. I know I don't even read the comments, but we don't actually. So that foam, of course, is made in China, but then we print in the US. So that, or London, etc. But that was a weird thing that I was like seeing happen in the flesh. And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Well, the fact that you handle all things Connecticut, you were a little concerned about the two niches here, being cohesive. And I just brought it to the point that, she made this for me. She put my brand on it, which means that you can transcend over all brands.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be unique about you.
Thanks.
You can go anywhere you want and meld.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let's talk about your business.
Okay.
You call it Chief Swag Officer. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's really a kitschy kind of fun name. Originally I had a different name for the business. And when I started this, it was my first e-commerce business. So I had no expectation really what it would become or that there would even be any product market fit. And so everything I did with this business was not really done with any plan. And I would say that's something that's kind of cohesive against with anything I've ever done in business is I don't really ever have a plan. So it was just a name that was suggested to me and I was like, screw it, I'll try it. And I think that's honestly a part that's made this company really special is the fun name.
Explain what your business does.
Yeah. So do you mean the e-commerce business?
Everything that you're involved with.
Sure. Okay. So essentially I started this blog when I was 12 and I built that out into this lifestyle platform, grew up in Mansfield, like no money, no connections. And it started as a fashion blog. And then around age 18, I started talking a lot more about entrepreneurship. And I had a podcast that I ended up when I was living in Boston, cold pitching, and I sold that to Disney. So then I moved to LA for 2 years and lived there. Well, I ended up in LA for 4 years, but I hosted this show called Fearless Every Day for 2 years. And so, it was like right before podcasting became a thing. And so it was interesting to see it. And so when I left Disney, it was right when COVID started. And then I had another company in Texas, and that flopped quite poorly. And then, and then I ended up moving to London and had a bit of an interesting progression, I would say, like, being an influencer content creator, which I don't even like to call myself, but the podcast, the newsletter, et cetera, TV segments I would do, that's really what's paid my bills over the years. And so I had a very slow period last year, and I had been looking in particular for a microphone cover. And so I had done these events called Be Fearless Summits. It's very hard to scale these in-person events. And so I had moved to London, then I had some weird things happen in business. And I just kept coming back to like, why could I not figure out how to put my logo onto a microphone cover? So I had this weird intuition, which I've had over the years, but you never know, like as an entrepreneur, what will work or what not.
Right. Absolutely.
So I had this idea, and I, told like my parents and my sister, whatever. And over the course of essentially a year, was able to figure out how to print onto a form of it. Started it as an Etsy shop, and quite fast realized like, wow, okay, there is a company behind this. And then I've started to scale it from that.
Does your company do anything besides the microphone covers?
Yeah. So our main two products are the microphone covers and then this item called a mic flag. So if you're watching sports and you see like the box around it, so we do those. And then we've expanded into other ones, but that was really the niche and is really what's gotten people in the door to then see we have other items and other things for influencers. I mean, selfie sticks, etc. But the customization of these two products has been what's really scaled the fastest.
Okay. You're extremely active on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, your TikTok has over 54,000 followers. That's amazing. And again, that's one of the things that just intrigued me about you is that look at this. This is crazy amount of followers, and she grew up, next door. Yeah. Your Instagram, your Facebook are very strong. Also, your YouTube that's where your podcast is. Yeah. Well, it's 1,000.
I know, but it's so hard to do it regularly. That one. Do you do YouTube a lot?
I'm just getting into that. The podcast is going into it, and we're starting to market it. Subscribe.
Exactly.
But how has all this affected your business?
Tremendously. I will say that it is so funny because this whole Connecticut thing, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for years, right? Since I was 12 is when I started this blog. And I actively say, like, I literally came from nothing, the most basic, boring upbringing. My mom was a nurse at Natchog. She's like from England. She immigrated here when she was 20. So I didn't come from anything. So I love this small town thing for anyone that I see who's successful. And so I put that forward because I think a lot of people hear Connecticut and they think like, oh, another rich white girl from Connecticut who's whatever. And I'm like, no, that's really not me. But when I posted this particular video, I think like at the Eastbrook Mall in December, I don't even know what spiraled this thing, but like the fact that in 12 years of working 24-hour days, being so broke, like this is what would make me in a way be recognized. Not even a Disney show. It's infatuating to me. And it's honestly made me not only like re-love Connecticut, but also realize that my whole, I think, journey has really been like building community and trying to find that role model that I never had. And so the fact that now, I mean, we're like about to hit 1,000 girls within 3 weeks in this Discord like community in Connecticut. It's just crazy. So it's just phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. You can reach out. Now, part of it has to do with mental health, correct? Yeah. You had some things going on in your past, and now you're trying to give back.
Yeah, I would say along the way, like my whole thing has really been just authentically talking about entrepreneurship, but under that is the umbrella of like obviously being a young entrepreneur and then talking about my own experience with anxiety and depression, eating disorder, etc. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to, I don't know what that is. You guys, you have to be quiet. I don't know what that is. Do you want me to restart what I said?
No.
No.
This is a
dings.
podcast.
Okay.
Things happen.
Sorry, guys. There's like a TikTok live. So yes, I've always just authentically talked about all of that. And then I just did a partnership actually starting yesterday with Illicit. And so it's for Connecticut Children's Hospital, which isn't specifically mental health, but any cocktail that you buy there, $1 goes to Connecticut Children's. So I love to do stuff like that.
Does that have anything to do with the matchmaking thing you're doing?
No, this is a whole other spiral of like, that is a whole other world of like, that doesn't have anything to do with it. But now I'm starting to do that. If you know any guys.
Anyway. Yeah, I know. No, we'll leave that one alone. He's too busy. But this whole social media thing, you've been able to like work with some big names too. Baked by Melissa. How in the world do you approach someone of that magnitude
to do a collaboration with you?
So there's two parts of that. So there's like when I had the Disney show, and I think throughout my career and having a podcast for so many years, I've been able to really get so many, not only celebrities, but like serial or exited founders on the show, just like through meeting people. Obviously the Disney name had a lot of clout to it. So I was able to get tons of people on my show when I was on that. And now just being in the entrepreneurial circle, it's very small, the industry. And I don't think people realize that. I mean, in the sense of even in an LA or in New York, it's obviously nothing as small as, for example, Connecticut. But in the world of like serial founders or people raising money, that world is very small. So just from events or parties, et cetera, you're around a lot of that. In particular with the e-commerce business, I mean, Melissa, for example, I was at South by Southwest in Austin and she spoke and I went right up to her. So I went right up to her and I just said, can I send you some product? And she didn't even know what the product was. I actually just wrote in my notepad. I just was like, what's your address? She was literally walking out and she was like, West 14th. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait, fuck. And I ran after her and was like, what's the suite number? Because I was like, do you live in, there's got to be an address. And she was like, oh, suite, 231. And so, we just sent product to Kourtney Kardashian. She was a cold pitch actually, because I had seen her on TikTok using a microphone that was from Amazon. Okay. And so I just went on LinkedIn and I found her team and I put their email together and I pitched them. So it's a variety of, what I like to say is like casual harassment or just meeting people in real life.
Okay. Casual harassment.
Yeah.
I guess sort of the way I just reached out to you.
Exactly.
Basically.
Perfect. Okay. Just like that.
So you're doing branding for businesses. Do you think like in the future you're going to do anything bigger, like maybe even help people with branding, consulting of some sort?
I've always actually done consulting. I mean, prior to Chief Swag Officer, that was something that was kind of in the funnel for like my brand, and it was kind of always behind the scenes. I mean, I will say transparently that being a content creator, influencer, et cetera, is really hard to maintain. I mean, there's months where I've made $5,000 and I don't make anything for 3 months.
Oh boy.
And it's just, I think it's very frustrating that I think people think that you make a lot of money. Like I will so transparently, I could literally tell you what I've made in the past 2 months from the Alexa Curtis brand. And I think it would shock people because it's nothing near what you think and or what is perhaps deserved in that. But you have to, that's on someone's own time to figure out their own relationship with money and how that matters, et cetera. And so I have done consulting, but right now I really realized at this point in my career that I would rather make, and I do make less money focusing 100% on Chief Swag and 100% on like my personal brand than I have if I was being able to do the consulting, because I don't have the time in the day anymore. And I think the biggest mistake I've made over the years is that I love to make a lot of money and that's great. But if you're making money, right, it takes away from what ideally you focus on 100%, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. So that like Alexa Curtis thing is kind of like my full-time job, and Chief Swag is running like a full company, but it's kind of my side hustle. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. That was a long-winded question. So I have, but I don't think right now it's really just the focus is Chief Swag.
Okay. But Chief Swag is going to just stay the way it is.
No, I mean, I see a lot of a massive future for this company. I mean, within the first year, we've had a remarkable, tremendous success. So I hit onto something. It's just now there's a lot of technicalities in the sense of like scaling an e-commerce business. I'm like the person behind it, but I have people who work for me. But we had this situation that happened with our Etsy shop that was super frustrating. So we did and grew so fast and was making a ton of money a month, and I don't take any salary out of it. So everything was able to like pay off the credit cards essentially from when I had started it. Right. And then Etsy like tore us down. And so now we've gone from like, 20 sales a day to like 1 a week, 2 a week. But I know there's proof of concept there. So I've just been figuring out, how do I scale that as like a solo entrepreneur in a sense? Because I can't really keep this full-time team on board. So is that raising money, et cetera? And that's a massive, thought to think about, but I see it going down that route.
So big question. What advice would you give to a new entrepreneur, a new business, a new brand coming out? What should they do first?
I was at the gym today and I actually had this thought. My number one piece of advice would be that you need to believe in yourself more than the idea of your company. And the reason I say this is to use the Etsy situation as an example. In that first year of business, Chief Swag, we haven't even been a year, but in the 8-9 months we've been in business had tremendous success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost like on this high as an entrepreneur, and you're getting validation, right? As the company and also the founder. And then all of a sudden Etsy took down this store. Now I've had to like reevaluate the SEO, all of that. And so I realized, there's a part in any entrepreneur's career where you're going to have to think like, is this right? Is this worth going into debt for? Is this worth potentially, I would say probably the debt is the biggest fear. But what you have to realize is that even if your company has proof of concept, if you don't believe 100% in yourself and the ability to either make and sell a product and or move on to something else after, you will fail. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're wanting to especially embark in something in e-commerce and you don't have the gut intuition that you can do it, even if your idea takes off, if you don't really truly believe in yourself, you'll never be able to get yourself over the highs and lows, because the highs are so high and the lows are so low. And the second thing I would say, I think a lot of people would probably also say like the first thing is you need to be on social media. I don't really think like that. I think the biggest thing is you need to understand your product market fit and your customer. And so that means interviewing people, friends of yours, etc., whether you want to do e-commerce, whether you want to have an app, whether you want a podcast, right? You have such a great niche for your podcast. And so many people are like, I want to start a podcast, but I don't know what to do about it.
Right.
Then you don't have anything to fucking say. Why would you want to start a podcast if you don't have anything to say?
Exactly.
It is so stupid to me. You want to be an entrepreneur because you think it's cool. But like, it's super cool to be like a doctor and make a ton of money, right? Like
a lot of work.
So much cooler. And so I think that that's something that is way more admirable. So if you want to do it, you need to do it for the right reason.
Absolutely, I agree. So you mentioned I have a very specific niche. Okay. Now I've only been in this for like 3 years maybe. And the first year I wasn't really even taking it seriously. And then all of a sudden I started having followers on Instagram, and then it built up. So I was like, okay, let's expand on this. So I have a very specific niche. I'm branding. And of course, thank you very much for that. I got to get 2 more, by the way.
I was just going to say, I'm going to take a video of you after this and I'll just send you them. So obviously don't pay for them, but I want to take a video of you like actually using it after without me in it. Absolutely.
Okay. So in terms of what I'm doing, I'm trying to build up to where you were in the podcast area, correct? So what do I need to do?
Oh gosh, when you say what you need to do, I would ask you, what do you feel like your weakness is right now? What are you not doing? Because then I can properly answer that question.
Interesting. What am I not doing?
What's the goal, right? You want to be like famous in this particular niche. You want to expand out of this.
It'd be nice to be able to have an income from it.
Okay.
Not looking for anything crazy, but I would like to be able to share my experiences and I love craft beer. Everybody who knows me knows that. I love making it. I love drinking it. I love every aspect of it. And I think it's something where there's people in Connecticut, and that's where I mostly focus on. There's people in Connecticut running these breweries, opening them, trying to make a living. And there's been a little bit of a problem lately. So I'm trying to get people to see the brewers and get back out there.
Are you reaching out to them?
To the breweries?
Yeah.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
All of them, and like collaborating with them?
I do that a lot.
Interviewing them?
Yep.
Are you wanting to be paid then by them?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think more of a subscription thing might be, I mean, if somebody wants to, if anybody wants to use me for an endorsement, please, you got my information. Okay. But yeah, I think I'm just trying to do a little something where it at least pays for itself.
Sure. No, I get it. And that's why, I mean, look, I'll do like 6 weeks, like even the past 3 weeks, I haven't even had an episode come out. I don't really make any money from this show.
Okay.
Because right now I'm so focused on these. So the podcast is great because it's great branding, awareness for any brand, right? Or personality, etc. But as you're saying, 3 years in, you're not making any money. And that's just how it goes. I mean, when you look at like a Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan, it took these people 10 plus years and they came from predominantly, I mean, like he was what, WWE Rogan?
All kinds of things, yeah.
Yeah, and so, I've heard them in interviews, they say, especially the world of podcasting, man, it takes 10 plus years. And so if you're able to get through that and be in it for the long run, then I really do think you can monetize it. That being said, obviously after 3 years, you 100% could be. So you could either do something that's like, if you've got this particular community or following, I mean, you can say, for example, you could go the subscriber route. That's $5 a month and they get a call with you, or maybe they get a newsletter where you've got your list of all your favorites, etc.
Right.
That's so low lift, $5 a month, right? If you get 400 or 500 paying that, obviously. And then there's the route, which I have usually taken over the years, which is just more of the cold pitching companies. So that can be something like taking it small level, like reaching out to, friends of yours who have these breweries, and or just ones that you haven't even partnered with. For $50, I'll give you a shout out, or I'll do a video of myself either drinking the beer or talking about it. And then you can pitch that to them because they can use that as UGC style content, which is called user generated content. So we pay a lot of influencers, or we'll give them free product in return for a video of them talking about it.
Absolutely.
And that's really valuable from both sides, from us as the brand, and then from also you as the creator, because you're either getting paid or getting free shit, and we're getting content.
Right.
And I think right now, if you want to scale or build a creator-driven business or a podcast, I think the UGC element is the way to go about it.
Interesting. It's cool because like Lawson's in Vermont, they will randomly send out like a little care package to beer influencers, and I received one, and it was just like, oh my god,
super cool, right?
This is so neat,
Yeah.
But brilliant of them to do something like that, because then it's a bunch of other influencers got the same package, so everyone's talking about them. I do that with my influencer parties. I try to gather as many Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island beer influencers into one brewery that may need some attention, and then there's like 30 of us generating content.
Even right that, even you saying that, right? My first thought would be like, okay, well, those people, what are they needing? Why are they showing up to your particular event? So in a sense, like what sets you apart from someone else they're following in that space? And then how do you get those people to now pay for some exclusive, whatever it is, if you're already doing it? Are they lacking community? Do they just like to talk about beer? How do you get them to pay? And then how do you now find, okay, so you've got 30 people who are creators or influencers, you're saying, coming together, who wants to sponsor that particular event the same way that like Illicit pays me, right, to go in and bring people in there in a sense. How do you find the Illicit in that particular mindset of like, you have this community, so you can charge them, but how do you charge a brand who wants people in the door?
Crazy. There's so many different avenues, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Wow. Well, I appreciate the advice. So let's see, where can people find you? I know you have chiefswagofficer.com.
Yeah, so the e-commerce business is chiefswagofficer.com. My Instagram is Alexa_Curtis, and TikTok is Alexa Curtis Unfiltered.
Okay. And you're also on YouTube at Alexa Curtis.
Yeah.
There it is.
Pretty transparent.
X.
Yeah. I have a strange relationship with X. I love X. And it's frustrating because over the years I've paid like a consultant, and we got my X very high, and I loved that. And then I had this terrible situation happen last year on Twitter where I was like fully canceled for running this half marathon. And it was traumatic. Like, and I'm no Kim Kardashian, but like exactly when you hear people talk about being canceled, it happened to me. And so I have a lot of anxiety now with Twitter. And so I used to have this massive base on it, and honestly got a lot of like consulting people through Twitter. And I no longer feel the way that I felt about it. I feel honestly too traumatized. But I love it. I just don't have the same feeling I used to have about it.
Yeah, I don't really use it. I have an account, but I don't use it. But okay, so head over to Chief Swag Officer. Anybody who needs anything branding, this is a great product. And Alexa, thank you.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Well, that just about does it for this episode, but we have lots more to come. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'm Bud Esty, and I'll be tipping one back for you.